Well, welcome my fellow drifter maniacs, Richie here, and I'm pleased to say I am restocking my RC fleet. In today's video, we are going to be unboxing and testing the new Traxxas 4Tec 3.0, which is hiding away in this box behind me. But this is just one of 3 cars which I've procured from Traxxas, which are going to be appearing over the next few days. So if you're a Traxxas fan, you're going to keep wanting to watch this channel. I have been waiting for this car for so long. Why is that, Richie? Well, there are cars I drive on camera which are quite popular for people, and there are cars I drive off camera which are quite popular with myself but not necessarily with the general public on there. One of which is this Traxxas 4Tec 2.0 VXL. This car runs on ceramic bearings. It has just about every hop-up going on there. You will also notice an Armour 6S ESC and a Poseidon 6S motor. On the right day, this thing will run the other side of 135 miles an hour. It has every hopper imaginable you can on there to improve the handling. You can just launch this thing at full throttle, no Traxxas 4Tec death wobble. It runs as straight as a die. Why am I highlighting this? Because when I was looking at the spec of this last night, most of the parts that and upgrades I've got from this will fit to the new 4Tec 3.0 under here. So there is not necessarily the need to go buying things like the CVD drive shafts, which are already fitted to this car, because I can simply take them off of this one, fingers crossed, and hopefully fit them straight to this one. Anyway, let's take a look at what's hiding behind this brown paper, which has been shipped at some speed from a destination that shall remain nameless for the next couple of weeks. So here we have got from Traxxas. No, I have a feeling there's been a horrible mistake made here, because this can't be an Armour Typhoon inside. There must be, a very new and shiny Traxxas 4Tec 3.0. Let me clear the bench. Let's get this thing unboxed and see just what we get for our money, because I cannot wait to get this thing out of the box. Okay, well, the new Traxxas 4Tec 3.0 comes with a fully licensed Corvette Stingray body. It's available in a minute in grey, blue, which I believe this one is, and red. And that body, as I believe we're about to see in a second, is highly detailed indeed. You might think there's a transfer over from the parts, it's just Traxxas reworking something. Put all of that thought out of your mind. This thing is 15% bigger in pretty much every dimension than the existing car. And that applies to everything, pretty much even down to the tyres on here. Yep, we've got a 12-turn Titan motor in here. Should be good for 30 plus miles an hour. Believe this comes with 2 pinions. The stock one, which I shall speed test it on to start with. Then I shall put the optional speed pinion, and we'll see just how fast that goes. It's 4-wheel drive like the 4Tec 2.0 is. It's got bearings all round, fixed gear mesh, so you can adjust the gear very, very easily indeed. GTR shocks, which should give it excellent handling. But I do notice that Traxxas are learning along the way. This version, being slightly longer, has got a metal center drive shaft support bearing on here, which is going to be ideal if you go brushless with this thing. As the original one came in for a little bit of criticism with the drive shaft flexing around. I never found that to be a problem. Even running my 6S Monster, which is on the side over there, still has the stock drive shaft on it. But some people had issues with it, so it's nice to see that Traxxas have addressed those. Anyway, let's get it out of the box, see just how good this thing looks, or not. And as I say, one of the great things about this is if you've got Traxxas 4Tec 2.0 already, you're going to be able to take a lot of the hop-up parts you've got fitted to this car and fit them to the new 3.0 version, including things like Mod 1 gear conversion. And if anybody's thinking, I don't do many videos with this car, if you've got a 4Tec 2.0 with a Mod 1 gear conversion, take a look at who did the very first video on YouTube with the Mod 1 gear conversion. I think you might be very familiar with the name. Anyway, what do we get for our money? Well, in here we get, I'm guessing, a ubiquitous Traxxas 2.4 GHz transmitter. Now notice this is not a VXL version, so you've not got any TSM or anything on here, which you might want to think about switching to if you go brushless. Let's face it, who's not going to fit a brushless motor to this car? In one of what I'm hoping is going to be the best looking colours for this car, we've got one very new and shiny 4Tec 3.0, and underneath we've got a few shock spacers on there and our quick start instruction manual. And most importantly, we have got the extra pinion in there, which is the go fast one, to achieve the 30 plus miles an hour, which I shall be putting to the GPS speed test in the next couple of days. So if you don't want to miss that video, you know what to do. And I will say now, as I'm unpacking this, I can tell you right now, this is one of the best scale RTR bodies that I have quite possibly ever seen. Like, just check out that engine bay. Well, there are some car bodies that when you unbox them, you feel you should almost be wearing gloves before touching them. This is definitely well up there with those. This has got a reasonably decent weight. It doesn't feel too heavy, doesn't feel too light. Maybe a criticism in the original car was it was a little bit light on the front. That's sort of got a decent weight in there, but not so much I have a feeling that it's going to affect the performance. What I have to say, as licensed RC car bodies go, they probably don't get much better than this. Doesn't appear to have any visible body film on there to peel off, hence all of the shrink wrap around it. What are we thinking so far, people? Because having seen a couple of these Corvettes on the street in blue, I was quite taken with that. And the man who sent me this also said, I think blue, Richie, could be the colour to go for. Just check out the attention to detail on that thing, even down to those exhaust pipes. Traxxas, I think you have come up with an absolute winner. You're almost going to be afraid to drive this thing for fear of flipping it over. Just check out that engine, scale engine bay at the back, the clear cover over it, just like the real thing. Anybody says Traxxas are expensive, personally, I think this thing is worth every penny indeed. Bear in mind, a lot of people are simply going to take the stock electrics out of it and upgrade it anyway. But that body is absolutely to die for. Speaking of stock electrics, let's take a look under the skin, then find a battery to test it with. But first of all, I do feel we should put it on the bench next to my existing 4Tec 2.0. Looks quite a bit bigger than the claimed 15% over the existing model on here. That longer wheelbase is definitely going to help if you're into speed runs, which I have a feeling people are going to be doing if they're going to be buying one of these. How will this body handle at speed? I am not so sure. It is almost too gorgeous. Do I actually want to find out on there? In terms of how much wider a car is, not a great deal more, if anything, on the width on there. But then, as I say, when I looked at the CVD part numbers for this car, they're the same as the one for this car. Some people might criticise Traxxas for that. I don't. As far as I'm concerned, it's absolutely fantastic, because if you buy one of these off the shelf and anything breaks in the first week, that means the parts that are already in the supply chain for this one, you can fit to this car straight away, which is absolutely outstanding to my mind. Nothing worse than buying a new car and then finally having to wait 3-4 weeks from a certain other manufacturer for spare parts for it. Or in the case of my low seat Mini T, a staggering 4 months for new shocks. Now let's take the body off. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on, Rich. Were those little things like those? No body clips. Completely clipless body. So I'm actually going to have to read the instruction manual to figure out how to get that body off. Although I don't need to do that as quickly flipping the car over. We've got a little lever here at the front and a little lever tucked away down there at the rear. So one would guess with a quick squeeze of that and a quick squeeze of the one at the rear, the car is going to come completely free of the body. Just check out that on the inside. Absolutely outstanding. Note all of the light buckets on here, both at the front and the rear. I'm thinking you're going to be able to fit a full kit of LED lights to this car if you so wish. I can't help thinking that would be great with the Traxxas onboard sound system on there. I guess that's probably going to be an option. Anyway, let's take a look at the car. I'll say from the outset, giant slayer. People out there who are anti-Traxxas might laugh. This thing is going to be an absolute speed demon. Giant slayer is probably the understatement for this car. I can see one of these with the right foam tyres on it doing 160, 170. Why is that, Richie? Well, biggest issue with the Traxxas 4Tec 2.0 is if you want to make it brushless and fit in a big can 6S motor, it's very, very long indeed, and you run out of room to fit the ESC in, so you end up doing something like this, which then severely limits the amount of bodies you can fit to the car. However, I have a feeling Traxxas have learned from other people and have first-hand experience of that. With something like the WL Toys 144001, fantastic car, but you couldn't really squeeze a brushless setup in there because you've not got space to fit in the ESC. However, WL Toys then brought out the 124019, 5 centimeters longer, meaning you could squeeze a brushless motor and brushless ESC in there without any mods to the body whatsoever. It's almost as though Traxxas have looked at that idea and thought about that, although I suspect this has been in development for longer than this was. But you can see where I'm coming from. So when I say this car is going to be a giant killer, that extra space, the extra length on the car is going to make a huge difference, because if you want to run a big motor, something like maybe even a TP motor on that, you're going to be able to fit that in, whereas traditionally you might have run out of room, like on this car. On the new version, you're going to be able to move the ESC over, fit a new ESC. Oh, we've got a couple of holes here. What could that be for, I wonder? So you're going to be able to squeeze a high power brushless setup in here without any problem at all. Anyway, let me get the camera down, let's have a close-up look around the car. Now, before we dive down into detail on the car, you do need to know this is not a Traxxas 4Tec 2.0, it's Traxxas 4Tec 3.0. So much the same as Armour improved their cars with a V2, a V3, a V4, V5, etc. So have Traxxas done. So let's not criticise them for doing that. There's a few genuinely good upgrades on here, much like their competitor. And the first of those upgrades is apparent at the front with the new splitter on here, clipless body system. Compare that with the older version on here, which has the normal body post on here, which you can't adjust up and down. No, it has splitter on the front on there, so I have a feeling this thing again will be better at speed. We've got our ultra shocks on there, front diff on there, metal drive shafts, both front and rear. You can get CVD ones, which I would highly recommend, like I've got fitted to this car. That's because if any of these arms pop off and the drive shaft comes loose, it can fall out on the track, much the same as it can with any other RC car, and you can then find yourself hunting around for the drive shaft, just a pain in the what's it to my mind. So my number one upgrade, CVD drive shafts, which are already available for this car, because they're the same as the ones on the 2.0. Moving on back, our steering servo on the left, above the receiver box, our ubiquitous XL5 ESC 2S capable, our stock 12-turn Titan motor. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, so I'd wholeheartedly agree with Traxxas sticking with that. I can quite happily believe this thing with the optional pinion is going to go over 30 miles plus, and I have a feeling it might surprise me as just how much faster it goes over that. Killer difference between the cars. This is going to be able to take a massively bigger battery pack, be it a nickel metal hydride one or a LiPo one, than the 2.0 car can do, because I mean the space on this is about the same as the stock one on that, plus you've got this almost inch and a half spacer on that, so you're going to have to fit a huge battery pack. I'm wondering if they're even going to do a 6,000 or 7,000 milliamp battery pack for this, of which you could be looking at maybe 45 minutes to an hour's runtime on the car. And the tyres, substantially bigger, 2.1 wheels, 2.8 rims on here. My only question is, does anybody do foams for those, as the foams I'm using on my 4Tec 2.0 are considerably smaller on there, but I have a feeling the aftermarket or Traxxas may correct that in very short order indeed. But the whole thing looks very well made, very easy to work on. The original car, very easy to work on, and all of these hop-up parts, from what I can gather, I'm going to be able to transfer from this car to this car. So if you've already got a hot 4Tec 2.0, and like me, you're getting pumped about the extra wheelbase of this car, want to swap everything over, as I probably am going to do, as this is just about gone as far as I can with this car. I was thinking of selling it, not going to get the value out of it, so I might as well take everything out of that to fit to this to see how fast it goes. Okay, now talking about speed, these tyres are nicely glued down. Got quite a reasonable level of grip from them on there, and the fronts are slightly narrower than the rears on there. I cannot help but think that Traxxas are going to come out with a faster variant of these tyres, possibly even foam tyres within the next couple of weeks. If not, I certainly hope somebody else is going to come out with foams for this in this particular size, as believe me, when I fit 6S in this thing, it has got Speed Demon written all over it. Let's see if my battery's charged up, get the body on, and get to work. Yeah, after we've taken a quick scan down the underside of that chassis, which has quite a few similarities to the 2.0 version on there. But I am loving the extra length of this car because I know from my experience with the WL Toys cars, the extra 5 centimeters on the 144019 makes it a killer compared to the 144001. So I have a feeling the Traxxas 4Tec 2.0 is going to be left in the dust by the 4Tec 3.0. Let's see if that battery's charged up and find out. Okay, battery charged up, we're all ready to go. The one thing I would say I did notice when I powered it up, got quite a bit of toe out on there, which is going to make it nice and beginner friendly. But if you want to go super fast, you may be wanting a bit of toe in. In order to do that, you're going to need to replace the plastic links it comes with, both at the front and the rear, with some metal ones or aluminum ones like this. And you can see the holes for those replacement plates on there. That would be my only comment from the outset. Anyway, body on, let's go outside. Okay, moment of truth, 5200 milliamp 2S LiPo in there. Car is powered on, transmitters on, steering. Time to see how that clipper's body fits on. I'm guessing push down at the back, that bit in, down at the front, lift the car up. Double checking, nice and easy to fit for sure. Let's take it outside and see how it goes. The stock pinion on here for the minute as opposed to the high speed one. Pretty tractable at low speed, but I guess nobody wants to see that. Ooh, nice brakes. Given that long wheelbase, that's a good turning circle on there. Feel that speed. Do not want to throw this body over on the first day, or I'll probably end up will doing. Okay, full throttle towards me. That is not bad, considering that stock out of the box. Decent. Ooh. Ooh. It's too funny. Only movable object in the garden. Well, what do I think? This is not bad at all. Now this surface is nowhere near as grippy as blacktop would be, and these rubber tyres are demonstrating that, but the handling, not bad at all. I'm not really not wanting to turn that body over. Not bad. My brakes on this, exceptional. Gives it a very good turn of speed off the bench. Ooh, enough power to, I've got enough power to drift it there, yeah, we have. Four-wheel drive. And well, that's not bad out of the box, is it? I have a feeling on blacktop, these rubber tyres, take a bit of heat them, are going to grip like crazy. And I have to say, stability-wise, initial thoughts are this thing has gonna tick a lot of boxes. Oh man, I have a feeling this thing has had a lot going into the development of it. Very predictable, very beginner friendly, but I think with some more power in here, this is gonna be well up there for you advanced guys. And I have a feeling with brushless power, this thing is gonna be like almost like a drifting god with the right tyres on there. Not that that is what I'm planning on doing with it. But I have to say, Traxxas, I think we can safely say you have nailed it with this one, and those brakes are absolutely exceptional. Somebody has thought about how fast this car stops to avoid damage to that gorgeous Corvette Stingray body. Low speed, highly tractable indeed. Build that speed up. until it gradually wants to whip that rear end out. But very predictable, very easy handling on there. And, oh man, when I make this thing brushless, this thing is just gonna be electrifying. Well, the car shows no signs of wanting to turn over at all. I mean, it might be a different matter when we put a brushless power on there, but bearing in mind this body is on the real Corvette Stingray car. It's designed to do well over 200 miles an hour without obviously any lifting issues, otherwise that would end up badly for people on the road. So likewise, I'm thinking the aero on this RC car body could be very good indeed, particularly with that front splitter that they've got included on the car. Anyway, hope you enjoyed tonight's review of the Traxxas 4Tec 3.0. Is it everything I expected? Yes, and then some. I think the extra length of it is going to absolutely transform the way people think about this car, and I have a prediction that within like 2-3 months somebody's going to be nailing one of these things up to 160, 170 miles an hour, because you're going to be able to fit a seriously big power plant in there. Not that you need it straight out of the box. Okay, with your phone over for the day, simply reach underneath, pop those two clips, and it lifts off. Simple as that. Traxxas, you've outdone yourself on the clipless body system on this baby. Well, thumbs up if you like this video, guys. Post any comments you might have in the comment section below the video, and hit the circle below to subscribe. And if you do hit the circle, don't forget to hit the bell.